Hey, everybody, welcome back to another special episode here of Fourth and Frames, the flagship fantasy football podcast here at fantasyandframes.com. With me this week, I got my co host, Tyler Heil. Tyler, what's going on, man?
Not much. I am very excited to be here and just ready to have a little fun.
Folks, we're just going to jump into it because this is a very exciting week for all of us fantasy football fanatics here. It is Fantasy Football Expo week. Tyler, you and I, and then, of course, from Fantasy and Frames, Nate Markham is going to be there. His wife, Carrie, is going to be there. Ken Sonnenberg is going to be there. We're going to be representing the Fantasy and Frames brand here at the Fantasy Football Expo. It is Expo week. And I thought to myself, you know what? I know he's a busy guy, but I got to do my best to try and get the godfather of consistency, the creator of the Fantasy Football Expo here, Mr. Bob Lung. Bob, how you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm doing well. Probably by the end of this weekend, I will be solely running on adrenaline, alcohol, or both. I'm not sure which will be taken over by then, but yeah, a lot of stuff going on. We're downstairs, been packing for 3 straight days. All the swag bags. We're into the V's, so we're very excited. We're the light at the end of the tunnel is not a train now. So our good friend Nate Cheatham is here. He's in town. He put up all of the banners and all the booths that
Oh,
did
wow.
the booth packages. So I was downstairs in the lower level. It looked super cool with all the banners up. It's just going to look amazing down there. Um, as you saw, the big announcement, we are now doing Saturday all day at the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Kings Classic is going to be overlooking the field from the club level press box.
Wow.
Draft Night Out is going to be doing it there as well. It's we're doing all the stuff on the field. So flag football is going to be on the big field. The quarterback skills challenge will be on the big field. So bring 23,000 of your closest friends because we got room for them.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Yeah, when I saw that announced today, I'm like, this is every person's dream, man. To be on a football field, especially at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, something as iconic as that place is. And let's get into it. Let's do a little backtrack though, because back in 2019 is when you started the expo. It was at that time the Midwest Fantasy Football Expo. I remember you had put out a tweet or something, and I had emailed you, or I forget what I did, but I signed up, and then I was lucky enough to be one of the people who had a booth at the expo that year. And it was a great opportunity to meet a lot of people that we were all in the same Twitter sphere. We were all putting out content. We're all doing our thing. I will never forget meeting you and everybody at the Kings Classic that year. Dave Richard, just one of many, Mike Clay, Brad Evans. Just as a fantasy football fan, it was amazing. I had to rein it in because I was marking out a little bit too much around certain people. So it was a great time. The expo itself was a blast. Then obviously in 2020, everyone's dealing with COVID. That doesn't happen. It sucks. But as soon as it's funny. As soon as you made the call not to do it in 2020, every single one of us was like, 2021, let's make this happen. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And my God, 2021 last year was fantastic. Exactly. Would you just
it was mind blowing. I mean, as you said, we had 75 people total at the 2019, which was fine. We had 30 booths, everybody, there's about, so again, not a big crowd, 75 people is. So, I was expecting, hey, we'll double that. Maybe we'll be 150 in 2021. And we blew by that in the first month. And then
That's
it just
crazy.
kept inching closer. And then by the end of the day on Sunday, we looked at the total and it was 505 attendees. And I
Wow.
just, I literally had to rub one of those rub those eyes, kind of like, did I just look at that? My wife's like, look at that. Oh, look at the list. Because you have 505 people.
Yeah. Seriously.
And so yeah, it was, and like people said, like, man, that was ballsy enough to do that coming out of COVID. They're like, how did you know that was even gonna work? I go, I didn't. I said, well, vaccinations were coming, it looked like things were slowing down. We had all the way till August, so why not?
Right.
And that's what happened. And the community is so amazing. They all banded together, and I get it. I don't blame them. We were all cooped up for a year and a half in the house, right? We
Right.
wanted out. We didn't care where we were going, just get us out. So honestly, I wasn't even sure what to expect this year. Gas prices doubled, flights doubled in price. And I was saying to my wife back in like May, I'm like, I don't even know if we'll hit 500. And nope, here we are heading towards 650, probably 700 by the time we get done with this. So like you said, God bless this community. So many bigger names are coming. Shouldn't say bigger. More big names that haven't been here before. Howard Bender, John Hanson, Marcus Grant. Marcus was here the first year, but never really been part of the panels. He didn't come last year because he was concerned about COVID issues.
Sure.
And so, new names, but also still big in the end. Scott Engle's coming this year. So who knows? I mean, we were actually hoping to have a very amazing guest. I literally had, and I haven't announced this because I wasn't sure if he was coming. I have found that he is not, but I will tell you, and you'll be the first one we've done public.
Okay.
But I was on a Zoom call like this, something like this, Monday with Dez Bryant.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow.
Ron Jones introduced him to me and Scott Fish, and we had a Zoom call. And Dez really wanted to come to the Expo this weekend and see what it was about because he's really excited about being a part of it in the future.
Right.
But he couldn't. The flights were just not available, and they couldn't make it in.
Oh man.
As disappointed as it was, but I have to tell people, look, think about this. Dez Bryant wants to be a part of this next year.
Right.
So,
oh my God.
That in itself, who knows what that can bring, right? So, and he was super excited about the Scott Fish Bowl. He wants to be involved in that, and bring lots of his friends in the game. Former players. Who knows where this goes, right? And so just being acknowledged, the fact that Dez Bryant took time out of his schedule to invite me to a call means the world, because that just means we're making an impact out there. And so who knows what this will bring next year. But yeah, I was so excited to announce it. I'm like, but then I thought, no, I'm not saying a word until I know he's got flights confirmed. And so I just literally found out 5 minutes before I came on that they couldn't get the flights in. They weren't going to be able to pull it off. But yeah, I was. So anyway, but they could have made things even bigger. But it is what it is. It's still going to be an amazing time.
Darn right.
Yeah.
And that just gives us the reason to be bigger and better next year, right?
Yep.
So very excited about it. Like you said, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're fine. We have a regular here. Gator J says, I know it's way too early, but 2023 he will be there. It's not early, Gator J, because I'm thinking about next year.
August
and we haven't
11th
even gotten to
through
this
the
year.
13th.
What's up?
Nice.
Set the dates. August 11th through the 13th, 2023. So
Love it.
That's perfect. I'll be able to be in Canton for my dad's birthday.
There we go.
Perfect birthday gift right there. Coming to the Fantasy Football Expo. Meet everybody. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's do a little backtracking, Bob, because as big as it's grown and as big as it will continue to grow year in, year out, you can always count on us here at Fantasy and Frames to be involved.
Absolutely. Really appreciate your guys' support.
We love everything about it. We love everybody that we meet, and I think it's just a great opportunity to meet something. Let's go back to what caused you. What was it that hit you on the head, and it's like, I need to do something like this?
I guess it goes back to, I want to say about 10 years ago. So this is my 20th year writing about consistency. 2002 was when I came up with my calculations, started creating my own consistency stuff. So I kind of say that's the start of my career in this industry. But about 2012, I had went to, I think it might have been 2011. It's funny because I just heard yesterday, Jeff Ratcliffe was talking about this. They had a fantasy football convention at the Atlantic City Convention Center in Atlantic City.
Right.
And I was working for Roto Experts, which then was Scott Engel, Adam Ronis, Dr. Roto. We were all there together, and they were the ones putting it on. So I flew out, be a part of it. And as much as I respect all of those people, they did everything wrong. And Ratcliffe said the same thing. He said, he goes, I went to this expecting, he went to the one in 2011, expecting to be this amazing thing. And actually, all it was a glorified autograph session, because in the back, they were bringing in all these former Giants and Jets players to sign autographs. So people were paying $100 to get in the door. That was the first problem. So it was
Wow.
$99 per day to get in for one day. And that was just to get in. That you didn't get anything else. There were no swag bags. There was no, parties. It was just that.
Right.
And most of the people literally walked in the door, walked past all the booths, went to the back, went to the autograph session, got their autographs, and left. And Ratcliffe talked about yesterday that on stage for a panel discussion, it was him, Mike Clay, and he thinks it was either Bob Harris or somebody like that. So those three on stage. Now think about this. Those three on stage. And there were 4 people in the audience watching.
Wow.
You imagine?
Yeah.
If we'll put Mike Clay, Ratcliffe, and Bob on the stage, there'll be 200 people easily packed to that room to see them.
Standing room only. Absolutely.
And so, he said, and he was talking about, but this is where I was like, man, this is not how this should be working, And so, like, I was there, fairly few people came to our booth, and we were the ones putting it on. And so it really opened my eyes to how to not do it. And then it started my brain clicking about, man, Canton, Ohio would be a perfect place to have something like this. And that's when I actually started kind of talking to people during Hall of Fame weekend about, hey, you guys have heard about this fantasy stuff, right? It's kind of a big deal. A lot of people play. We should work together and do something. And, they would kindly like pat me on the head like a little 4-year-old, like, oh, that's cute. Yeah, we'll do that someday. Get back to us. So every year I got back to them. And then finally in 2018, when I kind of I didn't come up with the Kings Classic. I came up with, we should have a best of the best live draft, because fantasy baseball had been doing it for years with the Labor and the Tout Wars. Best of the best. They were always meeting in New York. In 2018, they actually did their draft in February, and it was in the Staten Island AAA Yankees locker room. And they all had their names, like each fantasy participant had their own locker. And so
wow.
And Sirius XM was there, and I was listening to this going, this is so cool.
Right.
We need to do this for football. And that's when I emailed Mike Clay, and I said, Mike, here's my idea. What if we did, baseball's doing this. Why don't we do a best of the best? We do it to Hall of Fame. We get Sirius XM to come in. I'll set everything up. I'll take care of everything. You guys just be here. And he actually, within 5 minutes, didn't respond to my email. He forwarded an email from Brad Evans. And Brad Evans had pretty much said the same thing to him a week before. Like, hey, we should have a best of the best and blah, blah, blah. Only if we had a cool place to hold it. I got it.
Nice.
So, so now me, Mike, and Brad are all talking. And I said, Brad, we do this in Canton, Ohio. We do it in the Gold Jacket Lounge at the Hall of Fame. Bring Sirius XM. And as they say, the rest is history. So 2018, we have our first Kings Classic. It went off like a charm. We were actually trending. Hashtag Kings Classic was literally trending on Twitter that day.
That's
it was
fantastic.
So popular. Sirius XM loved it. A lot of support, a lot of listeners for that event. And so they're like, all right, we keep doing this. And then 2019 was when we said, okay, we're going to do this again. And I knew that we had this nice little party afterwards at BW3's. And that's when I said, why don't we have the little party? Let's do an expo the next day. And that kind of came from people going to the Tony Romo convention and saying how bad it was and how overpriced it was. And it was just about autographs. And I said, well, damn it, I'm just going to do this. We'll do it at the Hall of Fame, but they just won't, I'll just rent their stuff, And so that's how that all came together. And, it was just my way of like, hey, I've got the place, we've got the thing, we've got the perfect location. Canton, Ohio is in the middle of the Midwest, so a lot of people can drive here in 6 to 8 hours. And here we are. And the community just, like you said, exploded and thought this was a great thing to do. And like you said, the rest is history. And here we are. And in 3 years, we went from 75 to 500 to almost, heading towards 700 people. So, next year, if prices go back down, we get to normal gas prices and travel prices, I don't see any reason why we don't break 1,000 next year. And that's a lot of swag bags. I'm not looking forward to that.
If we reach 1,000 next year, I'll fly out to Ohio and pack some swag bags.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You and
You're
Nate
welcome.
came out early. I appreciate it.
That's right. We'll rope in Tyler too. He's not getting out of it either.
Yeah.
Right.
Tyler, what questions you got here for Bob?
Well, have we discussed everything that's going on at the Expo this weekend?
Well, let's do that. So if you're coming in Friday, there's a Friday night party down at Centennial Plaza, which is downtown Canton. That's where we had our big party last year. We decided to move that to the Friday night because we didn't want to I didn't know how many people we'd have, so I said, let's do a bigger party Saturday at the stadium or dome or whatever we were going to get. But let's do Friday night, Centennial Plaza. It's right up the street from the DoubleTree. We only sold the DoubleTree out in 1 week. That was fun.
Yeah.
That lady was just dumbfounded because I told her, I said, because it was funny, nobody could get a room at that hotel because the Hall of Fame and NFL hadn't made a decision which weekend they were going to do Hall of Fame. There was rumor they were going to do it this weekend, this 13th, 14th.
Okay.
Normally is always the first weekend, but because there was an added week to the season was off a week, and they usually try to there's some kind of CBA thing that from the end of the Super Bowl to the first preseason game, there's a certain number of days. I don't know all the rules, but that was they're talking about. But anyway, I said, well, they always do it the first weekend in August, so I'm going to stay at August 13th to 14th. She goes, well, I'm blocking the hotel from both weekends. So she said, your people can't have it until we know. And then they announced it like right about the time, we were going to do it. And they finally said, okay, it's going to be August 13th and 14th. Well, of course, the hotel had been blocked from taking in reservations. So I said, all right, well, you might as well just give me the whole thing. Give me a special code and let's see what happens. And I said, look, if we don't sell enough by the end of, February or March, then you can open it back up. She opens it up. We sell it out in a week.
Mhm.
Yes, I made the mistake
was
about
like-
waiting too long.
And then, so here's what happened. We actually kept 20 rooms. So we
Okay.
sold out except for 20 because I'm like, NBC Sports hasn't even got their rooms yet. I got to have at least room for the sponsors. So we kept 20 back so NBC Sports could have it. And so it's still sold out, but she was dumbfounded. So anyway, so like I said, Friday night party down the street that goes from 6 to 10. We're going to do the cornhole tournament there. That'll be go from 7 to 9. 10 o'clock, we'll all come back, take over the bar till god awful hours. They have promised me, there will be multiple bar stations within the thing. There will
Wow.
not be only 2 bartenders. They have promised me this because I told them, I go, there will be a riot if Keith's the only guy there. We love Keith. He works hard for us. He's still there. Just saw him today.
Nice.
I waved at him and I go, Keith, see you Friday.
How excited was he?
I told him, I said, they're promising me they're going to have multiple people here. And he goes, well, I hope so, because he goes, you guys drink a lot. So I don't know, Jorge, I don't know if you've heard the numbers. Tyler, I don't talk to you as much as I talk to Jorge. So last year, I finally heard the numbers. We ate and drank the weekend $28,000 in food and beverage at just that hotel.
Oh my God. Well, I don't doubt it.
No, I don't doubt it at
I don't.
all.
You know, it's crazy when Ken and I got there. You know, well, first of all, one of the things about the expo that was really awesome is like for us here at Fantasy and Frames, we have writers in the UK all the way to St. Louis and Arizona. Right. So this was our first opportunity to finally see each other. So I, you know, Nate and I were really close friends, and it was my first time meeting him. And so we check in and head down to the bar. And this is like around, I want to say like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon on that Friday. And that time, Nate had been there since 1, which good for him for staking out the bar early and getting us seats. He had been like leaving generous tips to Keith as the day has progressed. So then as the night is going and everybody starts falling in, and I feel like there's like over 100 people at a time at the bar area, thankfully, because we had been generous to Keith and all this hard work, we were able to get some type of service, which is fantastic. But man, that's crazy. That is a lot of money. That's a lot of alcohol.
That was last year. So
just imagine this.
Yeah. So anyway, so we'll come back for the after party. So Saturday we do the drafts. Like I said, draft night outs doing theirs. We have the Kings Classic, and both at the stadium. Everybody else kind of free to do what they want. A lot of people just go and use their Hall of Fame ticket and go toward the Hall of Fame, which is a great idea. So then 5 o'clock to 5 to 7, 5 to 8, come down to the field. We'll start doing the quarterback skills challenge. We'll start doing the flag football tournament. We did get our 16th team, so we got our brackets filled. So everybody's ready to go for that. The party will officially start at 7, but food and drink will be available all day at the stadium, so you can pretty much walk in anytime. What was I going to say? And then, so the Saturday night party, we're doing those. I forgot it. The Friday party, if you bought a weekend package ticket, we will have our drawing for the winner who gets a $2,000 entry into the $1 million competition for the FFPC. So we may have forgot about that, but that'll be Friday night as well. So Saturday, DJ will be there. DJ Peoples, our buddy, going to be there playing music, and we'll just have a great time during that. So Sunday all day, of course, Expo is at the hotel, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We will have once again the 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. pregame event, again with, as I mentioned, the names before. I can't find my paper. Here's who we have on tap that'll be on stage: Andy Behrens, Pat Doherty, Howard Bender, Bob Harris, Marcus Grant, Ian Hartis, and John Hansen. Wow. That'll be our main starting up one in the big room upstairs. And then from 11:30 till 4, we will have 4 rooms going at the same time with panel discussions from everything from Devi to IDP to, you name it. The great thing this year is we are recording on video every single session.
Wow.
All of them will be posted under your account on your FF Expo account. You can log in and watch any of them anytime for free. They will be available to all attendees for free. If you can't make it and you want to watch the videos, there will be some kind of fee, and you will be able to log in and watch them all. So just in case you can't come this year, we've had people like, I had a wedding and I got this, I got that, I get it. Cool. But you can watch them. At least you can learn from all the expertise. And then for those of you who did go and you can't go to this one and this one at the same time, and you like both topics, not a big deal. Go to one and you can watch the other one on video after the fact. So that was something I felt was very important to have this year, because a lot of people last year like, oh man, I missed out on this one because I was at that one. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. So let's videotape them all. Let's have access to all of them. So that's another big thing that we wanted to do this year to add to the value of being an attendee and being able to have more topics to discuss.
Gator J's asking, what is the URL for the website?
So it'll be thefantasyfootballexpo.com. We do not have the access open yet, but just after that Sunday, Nate has got it all ready to go. We'll upload all the videos and then we'll announce. Just keep an eye out. It'll be just video access or something like that. Just click on, and it will be like $20, 20 or 30 bucks. It won't be, we're not going to kill anybody. So everybody that can watch that. Now, again, if you go and you bought a package, you get it for free. So it's no extra charge to anybody who attends.
Yeah, a friend of ours, Dave Ibrahim.
David.
Nice. Well, we know you're super busy, and we really appreciate you taking the time. But before you go, and first of all, everyone who's going that I know, we cannot wait. We were talking about this year's Expo back in February. I'm looking forward to the success I know it's going to be, and future successes with the Expo going forward. But before you go, I would be remiss if I did not want to talk a little consistency with you. And so, as everyone knows, he won in 2018 the FSWA Award for Best Fantasy Football Publication. Since 2017, you have been nominated every year. Every year, there's Bob Long. That's amazing.
And I tell people that's my victory. When I see the list, and I'm nominated with NBC Sports, CBS Sports, Football Diehards magazine. I mean, the fact that I'm even nominated to me is a win. I don't ever have. I mean, I won in 2018, and I treasure it, and it's still sitting right there. Nice. But it really is unbelievable to me when I get nominated. My black and white, no color, no pictures, just lots of stats about consistency. But Andy Behrens, I talked to him about it because he's the president of SSWA. Now he doesn't vote. There's a separate panel. They cover. They don't. It's very. But it's people in the industry, and he says every year he hears how they love the innovation, they love the knowledge, they love the approach, the simplicity. They said it doesn't. They respect it for what it is, and that's just an honor to me to even believe that they feel that way. So it's very special.
Well, you are totally deserving of it. Let me just ask you two questions here. We'll go with running back and wide receiver.
Yeah.
It's just one of each. Based off of all the research you've done, if you had to pick a running back for consistency that people need to be targeting in their drafts, who would that be?
One that I'm, while consistency is important, as we all know, whatever league we're drafting, it is also about value. Right. So getting a consistent player, but also at a good spot, certainly is a win-win. And to me right now, and this is just every time I'm still doing drafts and I'm still seeing this happen, I'm getting Ezekiel Elliott in the 3rd and 4th round. Now, granted, last year, consistency was one of his worst. I get it. But he was still 7th in total points, and he was hurt all season. This guy has normally every year been 80 to 90%. And I can get him in the 3rd round. I did a draft where I drafted Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, and in the 3rd round took Zeke.
Wow. Oh, wow.
That's just unfair. So that's my guy this year. Yes, I know Tony Pollard's there, and yes, he's a very talented running back, but Jerry Jones has said a million times so far this preseason, Zeke is our guy, and Zeke will be their guy as long as he stays healthy. And I think he gets back to that 80, 90% again.
Yeah, and I love that pick, Bob. I can't say that I do anything as thorough as you do, because man, that guide is dense.
Thank you.
It is awesome. There's so much good information on it. The data on it is amazing. But just off the top of my head, I track all the median scores for players, and Zeke was number 9 last year.
Yeah,
he had a bad year, and he averaged almost 14
bad year,
points
so
per game. Yeah.
All right, let's leave the people with one wide receiver that people need to be looking at from consistency's sake and value as well.
I think the one that, and this one I'm going to go a little bit deeper in drafts, but here's a guy last year that was he was 30th in total points. He was 32nd in consistency, and he's going this year wide receiver 45 to 50. I'm drafting him almost every draft as my wide receiver 4 or 5. So he's going to play my flex spot or be a solid backup, for bye weeks. It's Tyler Boyd. It's just amazing to me that he's going that deep. He was right, like I said, he was 32nd in consistency. So he's wide receiver 3, but you can draft him as wide receiver 4 or 5, and he's playing on an offense that should improve because their offensive line got so much better this year. So now there's more time for him. They lost Uzuma, which was kind of the underneath guy as well as Boyd was. So now it got Hayden Hurst, but until Joe Burrow, gains a rapport there with him, he's going to be looking at Tyler Boyd underneath while Higgins and Chase are running down the field. So I think that he continues. He's going to be one of those guys that get 10 to 12 points a week, no more, no less, and that's what you got to go with. You're never going to get a 25-point week out of him unless one of those guys get hurt. So I just like him as a really good value later in drafts, and just has the consistency to back it up.
Nice. For those who want to read more about Bob's consistency scores, head over to you can find the guide on Amazon, right? That's the big one.
Amazon's the best place. Just type in 2022 consistency. You don't have to put guide or fantasy football. It's the only thing out there that says 2022 consistency on it.
Love it. And for anybody else who wants to follow Bob Lung on Twitter, it's Bob_Lung. Make sure you follow the Fantasy Football Expo at the FF Expo. You've used your hashtags FFExpo22 for all your social media posts. We can't wait to be there, Bob. It's just a few more days and we'll be there raveling it. So thank you very much for being on the show. Tyler, it's been great as always. And for all you Forward fans out there, hopefully you've listened to this podcast and it's making you want to go this year. And if not this year, next year and years to come, because I guarantee you it's going to be a fantastic time no matter what. So for everybody here, I'm Jorge. We will see you next week, folks.